Graham, good to see you again. I'll just start with any team news that you might have going into Saturday.
No, not at the moment. No changes anyway. I think that Lewis Richards has continued to train this week, which is good. Jake Young's been out on the training pitch with us today. It was his first full day, which was good. And there's no lads that have gone out of it. So after the game the other day, so pretty much around about the same numbers.
Yeah. Do either of those two come into contention?
I need to see the data from today to see how their performance was like from physical data, and then see how they are in the morning, because it was a heavier load today than they've done so far. So it's all about how they assess the next day, really. That's with every player. So it's not exactly how they feel straight after, it's more how they feel after a night's sleep and stuff, and then and see if we can include them in the match day squad. If not, then we've got the same group as we've had for the last few games.
And how's Jamie Walker progressing at the moment?
Yeah, that's a bit slower. Jamie, unfortunately, like we said last week, I think the weather, what it's done with the pitch, it's been on artificial, put him back a little bit. So he's still not progressed to any grass work with us. So unfortunately, he won't be involved for the foreseeable. A couple of games, I would say, but fingers crossed he can get on the training pitch with us next week at some point, maybe even later in the week. Bit of a slow burner, that one. It sort of progressed really well to a certain point and then sort of plateaued out, unfortunately.
Now the dust has somewhat settled from Tuesday, just what are your further reflections on how that game went?
I think it was pretty spot on. When I watched it back, we didn't play particularly well. I think we had to give Salford a bit of credit for putting us on the back foot and how they played, which we took 15-20 minutes to come to terms with. But once we did that, we stopped the main threats from them, but we never really got our game going at all, to be honest. I know we had a couple of really good chances to get the second goal, which hopefully would have given us 3 points, but we never had enough pressure or momentum or the quality in those moments really to justify wins. So it was a flat performance. I thought at the time. A couple of players said that as well, and then when I watched it back, it was what it was. So there's plenty of improvement to make.
How do you reinvigorate that? How do you get that performance back to where it was when you had that winning run of 6 games?
Yeah, well, it's a one-off game. Look, obviously the results haven't been exactly what we've wanted in the last few games, but the performances have been there. It's just I keep repeating the final, sticking the ball in the net, the biggest issue. So 90% of the game in our defensive mode and attacking mode has been exactly what we wanted. It was only that was. I've been quite honest with the players about where we need to improve, but I've also been reinforcing where we've been good. But I'll also tell the truth if we haven't played well. And the guys are honest, and they're not in there convincing themselves that they play well either. So that's good. You know what I mean? It shows a humility about the group, that they understand when they haven't reached the levels, what they've been doing in the past and what they're capable of doing. But it's as we do when we win a game, we don't then just live off that for the next game. We reset everything and go again. And it's the same in a game that we didn't win. That we're not going to have a hangover mentally about it. We get out of the system. The boys have been out on the training pitch today. We made it upbeat and lively and competitive. And I think that's always the best way to get any negative feeling, any flat feeling out of it, is by going out there and being a footballer. And so that's what we did today. And I didn't see any hangover from the other night. I think the boys, by the time we come in tomorrow to prepare for the game, they'll be ready to go.
I remember when you first came to the football club, we spoke at length about the simplicity of putting the ball into the back of the net and the psychology that comes around that, and your want at that time for getting more goals from within the squad and not just one player. And I think we've seen that since you've been at the football club. Do you have to almost go back to basics when you're getting those chances at the moment and they're not quite going into almost have a psychological reset when it comes to those moments?
Yeah, I would say it's a psychological reset. I think what I talked about before obviously managing the team or working with them, that we need to create an intent to score, and there is an intent to score. Our XG, our stats, all that is all way above everyone else's. So the intent is there. Yeah. Our attacking momentum, our box entries, our shots from good areas, not from 22 yards, 27 yards. They're from 12, 13, 8. There's an intent there from the players, so that's good. So we know we've gone from a team that didn't really create a lot of opportunities to a team that is creating. This is before Tuesday, creating a lot of opportunities. Now we've got to go that extra step, that extra 5% to go. Now we've got to finish them, But the intent is there from the players. I can see that, and that's why we have to give Salford credit from the other night. I think they stopped us doing that to any great numbers. But the other games is what we'll build from and say, no, but this is what we've done in the previous games, and we just need to improve this without losing the other stuff, like I say, that we have been doing so well. We have to break the game down into phases of how you build a winning formula. It's not just one end result, and we know how to judge those and assess those, and we are doing a lot of stuff right. But ultimately, when you come out and you're not winning games, it's the result that is the most focused on aspect, and to be fair, that from my side, is I'd rather play poorly and win. That's the reality. But we have to build a way of how we want to play. We have to give the players confidence that this is what it's producing, and now this is I think when we first come in, you're going, okay, what do we have to? There was an issue. Obviously, the league table told us that. Right, where is it? Where's the problems? Where are the issues? Where do we have to fix? Now we know. We've gone through all these. We know what we're doing really well, and now we know where we have to improve. And I do believe we have the individuals to do it, but we are still on the lookout for somebody who can potentially help this group of players.
I'll ask you about that in just a moment, but momentum is such a big thing in football, isn't it? When you're winning, it can really carry you, and when you maybe aren't winning, it can maybe sit with you.
Yeah.
Does that play a part in what we're discussing right now in terms of how you approach things psychologically in front of goal? If the team run a winning run, do things like that just come into the factor of it all?
Yeah, look, the psychological side of it, so for instance, I think the 6 home games we've had in the league since we've come here, we've conceded in the first 15 minutes in 4 of them. We've not won any of them. So, you immediately applying a lot of pressure on yourself by conceding so early, which makes it, and then the away team then sits a little bit deeper, blocks up opportunities to score, so the job of scoring becomes a little bit more difficult.
And they're up, aren't they?
Yeah, they're up, so there's a psychological shift on both teams. And so the 2 games that we haven't conceded in the first 15 minutes, we've won and drawn, and we haven't even conceded a goal in those 2 games. So, that's how important just that bit is for the mental side of the game, and then the future tactics of that particular game. And it's sort of, so that first 15 minutes sort of mirrors what our season has been, in the whole, because it was a poor start from the team. So I think I mentioned it the other day, so our last 13 games since Notts County, when we had a shift, we went, right, this is what we have to do. We've won 7 and we've only lost 2, but we've drawn the games where we should have won, and because of the start of the season, there's more pressure on those games to win. So sometimes a draw seems like a defeat, but it's not. So but it's the psychological side, and it's from how the team put itself under pressure by the start it had. So and that sort of mirrors in our games as well. So there's loads of building blocks in seasons, in games, that lead to positive outcomes. So, but you're always going to have challenges, where it's not going to go your way, and it's about the strength of character, the strength of your mindset to overcome those challenges, and that's what we're having to find at the moment.
And with all of that in mind, it creates a general feeling amongst supporters, doesn't it, as well? And naturally, you will focus on the body of work that you're responsible for because of how long you've been at the football club. But with the season as a whole, and with where the club sits right now in the division, that does create a general feeling among supporters.
Yeah, 100%.
we hear and see that there's disappointment, there's discontent, and that is growing. How much does that factor into it as well? And how much do you feel that as a group, and how responsible do you feel for that?
I don't know how much it factors in. I think you mentioned the atmosphere after the game, didn't you, about it feeling a bit flat, but maybe those goals we conceded in the first 15 minutes punches any feel-good factor coming into the stadium, and that's it. And to be fair, we recovered really quickly. We scored quite quickly after that. But it is a little punch in the stomach, a little dent. So look, we can't. What I've always tried to do in my life is take the hits, learn from them, but make sure you've still got a focus and a concentration that you can change the future. So I can't go in and go, right, if we had the first 10 games again, we'd do this. Impossible. So what's the point even focusing on it and concentrating? What we got to do is take the positives, what we've done so far, and go, right, but this is where we need to improve. That keeps me motivated, keeps me going, keeps me hopeful that I have my future, my team's future under our control, and we can do something about it. When you're helpless and you can't do anything about it, that's when you've got no hope. And the only thing we can't do anything about is the past. So for me, I look to the future. What can we do in the future to make this a positive season? So none of us can make up for the past. Can't happen. All we can do is affect the future. So that's how I think, that's how I believe the game has taught me that over many, many, many setbacks, and many hurdles that I've had to overcome since the age of 16 coming into the game. But I also always know that I'm one of life's believers that anything is achievable, anything is possible. Sometimes to my own detriment, but I'd rather live my life that way. I'd rather live my life in a positive fashion and positive thoughts. That's my choice.
And you've always been very honest with us when we've asked you questions like that. But can you understand that feeling from supporters and where the club are at right now? 1,000,000%. I don't know how we can expect anything different. With Bradford City, we got 19,000 following us, which is phenomenal for this division, and we're 16th in the division. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna beat myself up. Right, how can we make the supporters more happy? Winning. That's it. It's winning. We're at a level where we need to win. So they want to see a team that's committed. I think they've seen that. Listen, we were flat the other day, but they can't. No one could say that about our other performances. After that Notts County game, we've been full, even halfway through, even from half time, we showed the character what we have in this group of players. So, and we've shown that in every game, and I mean every game. So, no, I don't think people can question our character or our personality or our will. They can question our quality at some times, which I am doing, and the players are as well. But the supporters want to see their club win, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's why I think it's we're in a privileged position to work and play for a club like this, because we've got so many people that are interested and excited about our results. So if it's going great, listen, no one shirks away from 18,000 singing your name or patting you on the back. There's two sides to every coin, but you have to handle both. That's it. So if it's not something you want, everyone's got a choice to not put yourself in this position. But I know where I'd rather be. And to put a positive slant on that, is that the driving factor for you as a manager of this group of players, that the challenge of turning it around, succeeding, is that a big driving force? Yeah.
It's what underpins everything we have as professionals in our career. You're as a player, if you're not in the team, you get your opportunity because someone else isn't doing the job properly. That's how you get in the team. So you have to believe that you can do your job better than somebody else. As a manager, you take over a club sometimes when they're not in a good position. You have to believe that you can do a better job with what's on offer. So we all have this desire to show that we can achieve, we can do things well in our chosen profession or role. And every single footballer that's made it to the professional level has had to overcome the competition from other competitors. That is it, to get contracts, to get through trials, to win moves, this, that, the other, to stay in the team, to get jobs, to keep people from taking your job. It's competition every single day. So we're used to competing, and that's what gets me up in the morning. That urge to compete every single day, and me get better, my team get better, my club get better on one part of it. I think I can help players do that. I think that's what we've done in the past, myself and Chris, with other people, and we need other people. But the only issue I would ever have with players is a lack of effort, and that's certainly not the case here. Certainly not the case here. So we have to help them, and that's what we're here to. If they're perfect, we wouldn't have jobs. So mistakes keep us in jobs, in a way. If that's how you want to look at it, and that's my positive way. If everyone was perfect and we moan about it, there was nothing to moan about, then what would we be needed for? But we're needed because we were there as players making mistakes, and we needed guidance and help and direction and clarity, and that's what keeps my eye on the ball about what's needed. But I know my own career said that nothing happens overnight. You have to persevere. You have to get up every day with a new idea or the same idea, but make it better and stuff like that. So, nothing changes. But listen, we're as frustrated as the supporters because we believe we should have more points than we have. But like I said on Tuesday, it's not through luck. It's not through luck. It's for our own, failures in certain aspects of the game. So that's where we have to try and fix it.
In terms of January, you mentioned it a little earlier on. We're into the final week of business. Are you any closer to bringing someone to the football?
No, not at the moment. We've had a couple of conversations with other clubs about a couple of players that we feel can help us, and we're waiting to see. There's a couple that are not involved in their first team at the moment. There's one that is in someone else's first team at the moment, but we think might be available. So, but it's not vast numbers. I still, I've been speaking to the staff today and a couple of players. This is why we haven't had a wholesale change of. We've trimmed the numbers down to a more competitive, manageable level where we can get better training sessions and have every player looking that he can get in the team rather than 3 or 4 a million miles away from it. And so that's we're not looking to. I believe that this group is still capable of winning a lot of games this season, but there's obviously an issue where we need a bit of help if we can. So I'm trying to help. The players are trying to help themselves. Sometimes that help comes from outside, and that's what we're going to try and do. But if we don't get it, or get that person, then I still believe that this team can do it.
Not sure whether you can tell me this or not, but what markets are you looking into right now? Is it League 2 level? Are you looking up into League 1? Is it down into National League?
Well, there's 2 or 3 players from different levels. They're different levels. So, listen, we can't go. Well, I can't go Championship. We did with Tyreek, to be fair, but But there was a backstory to that. But I don't think we can afford the senior players at that level. But there's a couple of options or potential opportunities that from different levels.
Permanent signings, or are you still?
That's different as well. So one might be or could be a permanent. The other 2 could be potential loans. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, but it's someone can help us in those forward areas.
Do you still see other players in this current squad leaving in the window?
Well, I'm not going to be a liar, so I can't say no and then something happen tomorrow or something happen Monday, this, that, the other, so I don't want to do that. But like I said, we don't know what's around the corner. We're down to the best numbers now. I think what we have is good, so we're not looking to squeeze people out or see if they've got other opportunities. But if one comes in, that might open the door for somebody. But at the moment, I feel we have just about the right amount of players, but I want to keep it that way. So if there's any incoming, I think there needs to be an outgoing if possible as well. So we'll just see what the next 6 or 7 days bring.
And just finally from me, Swindon as opposition, obviously without a manager now. How is that in terms of a challenge for you? Do you have to think differently about a team when they don't have necessarily a first team manager, permanent first team manager?
Yeah, a little bit, because I think it's when a new manager, which we've faced 2 in the last couple of games, a new manager coming in, you've got maybe 1-2 games to work on, and then potentially their other catalogue of work at their previous club, that we can assess and analyse. But when there's no manager at all, obviously they've got a caretaker manager, and he's been managing the last couple of games, so that's all we have to go off. So, but yeah, it's it covers a percentage of our game planning. The majority of it is we have our own issues to fix and address and improve. So that's where our focus is on. Is right, how can we get the best of us? How can we look at our best? And after Tuesday, there's a lot of improvement we can make in all sorts of areas. But it's not an improvement we haven't seen already. We just dropped our level. I think I don't think we have to go right. Can we achieve this? I think we've already been there, really consistent over a lot of games. But the standout one is obviously the goals. So, the opposition. I think they've changed a lot of players as well. Or they've lost a lot of players in January. So that will affect it potentially more than a change of manager. That it's actually potentially a big group of players that have changed as well. Okay.
You mentioned Jake at the beginning, managing to do a bit more in training now. I mean, I think every time we mention Jake Young, a lot of supporters sort of get very cynical about it and sort of think, what's really going on? I mean, do you sort of appreciate that some people will find it difficult to accept whatever's said about him at face value while the window's still open?
Yeah, but I can't close the window, so I'm not in control of that, so I can't deal with that. I'm not a physio that can fix injuries either, so I'm not in control of that. So I try to focus on what I can control and focus and influence and that. So he's on a normal return to play schedule that Jamie Walker is on, Lewis Richards is on, and he's gone through the same protocol as them exactly. So. Look, I can't make people believe what I'm saying. Hopefully, over time, people understand what I'm saying is the truth, and that's where we are. So, but he's looked good in training today. To be fair, as did Lewis Richards. You know what I mean? So, fingers crossed. There's no adverse effects from there. Today, because obviously we had a game on Tuesday, so we couldn't really train fully Monday. With a game Tuesday, and then obviously yesterday was a recovery day. Today was the only, I'd say, full-on training session we could have this week. So it's how they assess tomorrow.
Obviously, with this scenario, with each day that goes past, probably the picture slightly changes in terms of it's almost. The uncertainty sort of starts to get pushed a little bit further away, or alternatively, it gets focused, doesn't it? It's got to come to a point very, very soon.
Yeah, that's what it does. Like I said, I think January, the first few days, there's a flurry of activity because everyone's got things lined up from December. Then it goes really. Well, I was going to say quiet. It doesn't, because you guys talk about it all the time, and everyone talks about it because that's what it is. It's a really condensed period of time where a lot of stuff potentially happens. When you look at the potential of what could happen and actually what does happen over the course, of 92 clubs, it's quite minimal. So there's a lot of noise, a lot of talk, a lot of speculation, and then towards the end of the window, people are forced to make decisions. They'll either up their bids or accept a bid, or or players. So I'm not going. I want to go. This, that, the other. It just condenses down to this. So this is why I try to keep as fluid and open as possible in the big period in between, because I don't know what tomorrow brings, and I've learned in football you don't know what's around the corner. Obviously you haven't got a clue, so I understand everyone's wonderment about these moments, and no one can really put their finger on the exact 100% truth about everything. Do you know what I mean? So but I'm just giving my side of it from my perspective of it, and that's where we are really. So, but what have we got? 5 days, 6 days, 6 days. So it's going to be a lot of speculation between now and then, I suppose.
And I suppose because you say people look on the outside saying, here's a team who's saying we need to score more goals, and you've got a guy who scored 16 goals, who's not involved. So people think, why not put them together?
Yeah, but if the player's injured, we can't. That's the thing. It's obviously he came back. I don't want to go back on my words, what I said straight away, but he came back with an injury, and I think the Swindon manager clarified that as well, that he'd been playing with an injury for them there. So, you know, he came back with an injury, reported it, he's been treated for it. He's back in, like, you know, when he come back on the pitch, I said he's back out on the training pitch, he's been doing laps. Now, he's trained today. I've told you he's trained today. I don't want to hide anything from anybody. I don't want to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. I want to be honest and open with everybody, but there's things that go on behind the scenes in football that even I don't know about a lot of time, in the whole scheme of things. You know what I mean? That's what it is. And a lot of it, I don't need to know. You know what I mean? Because a lot of it is maybe speculation, this, that, the other. So unless it's factual, a real thing that I have to deal with, you know what I mean? I'd prefer to be left to manage the team, because ultimately, you know, this is a side issue for me. It's a potentially important player for us if he's here, when he's fit, fully fit. But I'm not going to ignore the guys that are out there running the nuts off in a Bradford City shirt to focus on something that I don't need to. My focus is going to be on the players that are out there busting their whatsits to win points for our club.
Is it easy to keep, not just this issue, but generally as a manager, side issues out of the dressing room during this month? Because it is mid-season and there's so much going on.
No, I don't think so. I think, like, I've been in change room for 24 years as a player. All sorts of rubbish is talked in a change room. I'm saying, I was part of it. You know what I mean? And you, they'll know more than what we did back in the day because of social media and everything. You know what I mean? Back then we just read it. Remember those old-fashioned things, papers and that. So, but yeah, so we you know, that was it. So ours was, you know, but now it's 24 coverage on TV channels and radio channels and social media and everything. So they'll be probably just like the supporters are, talking about every move that's going on here, there and everywhere. But listen, I don't walk into that change room until match days, because it's their environment. That speculation will go on forever. You never stop that. It's like, you know, that's what it is. You know, so listen, but lads, when they come down to it, when they're on the training pitch, they're training. When we're on game time, they're fully focused on that. I don't think we've got too much experience and too much professionalism in that group of players to let anything potentially happening outside affect what goes on the pitch.
Super.
Okay, chaps. Sorry.
To be fair, everything's kind of been covered. I just wanted to ask, for in the reverse fixture, obviously we beat Swindon last time round. Do you pay any sort of attention to the previous result against the same club? I know it's a very different sort of squad for us, a very different squad for them, but psychologically, does that help you?
No, probably, because different managers. I weren't here. Their manager weren't there. Different players, all this lot. So for me, it's just a fresh challenge. The players will see it as a fresh challenge as well. You know what I mean? Because we're playing in a completely different fashion. We're not sure what we get from Swindon just now, but yeah, there's too many changes in personnel for it to be a similar affair. And I think I said this a couple of weeks ago, you could play the same group of players against the same group of players every day of the week and it'd be different games. You know, that's how football works. And so, but we'll go there and give it our best shot to win 3 points as we always try to do.